Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I'll just get plugged in here. Here we go. And nice to have you on. Let's see, where's my other microphone? There it is. Okay, Jude, you're number one this morning. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Good morning. Sandy, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Jocelyn, how are you? And Denise, good morning. There's Brahim. Okay. And Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Yvonne, Petawawa. How are you? Rosa, Montreal. Marlene, good morning. Fran, Orangeville, how are you? Nick, good morning from our staff. Dan, how are you? Donna, Park Hill. And Nellie, good morning. And Cheryl, West Virginia. Hi, Cheryl, how are you? Sue, good morning from Bolton. And Cecilia, how are you? Vashti, Windsor. Francis Marie, Kelly, London, Ontario. Sandy, how are you in Chilliwack, British Columbia? Crystal, good morning. Teresa, Dunedin, and it's sunny. Not sunny here. Brandon, Wendy, good morning. Deb, how are you? Linda, and Brahim saying there's too much cheating going on. Milika, Diane, how are you? From Thunder Bay. Jean from Peterborough. Wanda from Virginia. Sandy, how are you? And Luella, West Tennessee. Nativity, cloudy and cold, and it's May already. Yep. Denise, Oakville. April, good morning. And Sylvie, Sue, Saint Marie, Francis from Vaughan. Alan, how are you, my friend? Judy, Elliott Lake. And Cindy from Saskatchewan. Carol, how are you? And two Carols in a row, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Elaine, how are you? And Joyce, Kansas. And Catherine from Parksville, British Columbia, and Sandy, and Laurie, and Patricia in the Nickel City, Sudbury, Danny, and Gary, and Kathy in the clouds, Cheryl, good morning to you. Okay, guys, let's get going. Okay, Teresa is saying, okay, I have diverticulosis, and I believe I'm having a flare-up of diverticulitis. Bad pain in the lower left. Yeah, you're probably nauseated. And is it because, you're asking, Teresa, is it because I'm not eating enough fiber and only eating EMC? No, it'd be the opposite of that. Okay? You have no idea, Teresa, how many people that I treated over the years. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people with diverticulosis. And I can't think of an exception. You know what? They were mostly women, not always. I mean, it's not that I ever didn't see a man, but it's mostly women with diverticulosis. And by the way, guys, what diverticulosis is little pouches, okay? They're little pouches, and within the colon, and you know what? That get all gummed up with feces and undigested food or whatever. And you know how I help them more than anything? I got them off fiber, especially salads and spinach. These people generally lived on that stuff. Teresa. They lived on that. Eggs, meat, and cheese are not going to give you diverticulosis that can become diverticulitis, which is an infection which is serious, which, oftentimes now you need antibiotics. You have no choice. But I used to say, man, if you're getting flare-ups, man, you are way too much. You know me, fiber's overrated. Why would a food, okay, think of it, that's going to end up in your toilet be good for you? It was the old, it's going to clean out. You need all that bulk to clean out the bowel, right? No. You need water to clean out your bowel, not bulky food. So if you got a good upper digestive system to break down the protein in the stomach, and you break your proteins down there, and you got enough acidity there, and the reason you don't get enough acidity if you go up into the stomach is because people are carboholics. They're living on sugars and that kind of thing. Okay? So, what do? Okay? What do? A lot of water, probiotics. I would have you on gutties. You should be on digestive enzymes. Start the whole digestion with digestive enzymes, with probiotics, and and the other way, I mean, right now, if you're going through a flare-up, then, one of the things that I did with flare-ups of diverticulosis or even diverticulitis, I had them on, bone broth and making yourself, just drinking some bone broth or whatever, just to, while it's really super irritated, well, you can almost not have any food until it settles down, okay? So, Teresa, thanks for the question, but it's just the opposite of what you think. Shirley, any information on burning or stinging sensation in the mouth? Well, Shirley, I've talked about this many a time before. Usually, and it's not always, usually, that's a sign of low B12. Okay? It's usually a sign of low B12. And so try that, Shirley, with B12. It could be, the other thing is, high levels of cortisol can sort of, pour gasoline on the fire of burning mouth. So you might try the cortisol balance formula, but check by starting to take B12. I'd have you on about 4,000 micrograms of B12, because that's usually. I've seen a few cases where there is low levels of magnesium too, and that can be the stress of it. Okay? Couple of ideas for you. Hey, we're still with the mouth. And this is from someone anonymous. A deep infection in my jaw under my implants. Is there any well, look, I mean, if you got that, I would be on oil of oregano. Rinse with oil of oregano 3 or 4 times a day. Just put a couple of drops in your mouth and swish it around in your mouth. No pain, no gain when it comes to that. I'd have you on internally probiotics. You might even do a little bit of a gargle with an open up half a capsule of probiotic with the oil of oregano, a couple of drops, and swish it around in the mouth. Okay. No fun if you got a jaw infection from that. Lisa, I am 49 years old. Okay, you're still a pup, Lisa. And all the symptoms of menopause, okay? And my naturopathic doctor recommended progesterone, which I agree with, but needed a prescription. Well, I wonder what province you're in, because if you were in Ontario, the naturopath could have given you a prescription for it. Anyway, the family doctor didn't want to do it because they don't know anything about bioidentical hormones, okay? I wouldn't just give you progesterone. You can get progesterone from a horse. Do you know that? Like if you get estrogen and a doctor gives it to you, it's horse's urine. You're not a horse, of course, right? And I don't like that. I really don't. That's why I like a bioidentical progesterone or the menopausal formula that will elevate your your progesterone naturally. It's meant to boost your progesterone and dim out your estrogen, okay? Anyway, I hear you talking about taking too much estrogen. How do I get a prescription? Well, like I told you. And you want a prescription for bioidentical progesterone. Okay? Otherwise, it's synthetic. It's made from horse's urine. I don't like that. You know, a horse is 10 times bigger than you are. 10 times. You don't want to be, I don't like that stuff. Anyway. Okay, Anna, I have had postnasal drip for many years. My eyes are often watery. It's annoying to have mucus in my throat. Well, look, Anna, if you've had postnasal drip for years, I can tell you have a fungal infection. You have leaky gut, leaky sinuses. Guaranteed. Otherwise, it would have gone away. So you got to start with the gut, with probiotics. I would even do some, not cocaine sniffing. I would do, I've told people over the years, you open up a little bit of probiotic powder, our probiotics, okay? And get out a straw and, sniff them and get those probiotics into the sinuses, okay? They'll think you're doing cocaine. It works, okay? Oil of oregano internally to help kill the yeast. You can get an oil of oregano spray too. I used to use it in my office all the time for a constant. And find out, there may be something like, for some people it may be dairy. They're just, it bothers them. But if you've already eliminated that and you still have postnasal drip, do what I tell you. What are my thoughts on pap tests for women? Well, I don't know. I never, look, I'm not against pap testing. I just find that, again, they, if anything comes back at all positive, they overreact to it, in my opinion, okay? And so I'm not against pap testing. It just sometimes they get into craziness when it comes to any kind of pathology that they might see there. And then they want to go crazy with treatment. Anyway, I'm not against pap testing. It's the over-treatment sometimes that bothers me. What can I do with thyroid atrophy? Is thyroid support helpful? Yes, it is helpful for that. Betty, why, that was Ilana, by the way, asking about pap testing. Betty, what can I do with thyroid atrophy? Well, why did your thyroid atrophy in the first place? The thyroid support is very helpful. And, if you were to give me other symptoms that you're getting, I could guide you a little bit more, because the thyroid is like a puppet. It's got a lot of strings to it, attached to it. What are your ovaries doing? Like, do you have a balance between estrogen, progesterone, cortisol? The stress hormone has a big effect on the thyroid. But sure, I would start with the thyroid balance, okay? Let me see now. Okay, Linda, what do you think about using ivermectin and phenbentatol, tanol as a protocol for parasites? Look, there's a lot of stuff on the internet now about ivermectin, and I'm not against that. Hey, if you really have, everybody's got to some extent parasites, and they're not all bad for you. It's like bacteria. They're not all bad. I'm worried about you're going to wipe out all your friendly bacteria. Now, ivermectin, they're talking a lot. It's got, like, they should have been using it during COVID. They didn't want to use it because the pharmacist, there was no money in it. It's a very inexpensive medication. And I'm telling you, when you follow the money, it really makes you upset that they could have been using this, especially during COVID. And they didn't. And, like they made it almost illegal for you to try and use it. And that drove me crazy. But listen, my background is natural medicine. And I'm much bigger on oil of oregano, probiotics with the right strains. They'll kill your parasites, and they won't give you a dysbiosis where you're killing your good guys with it, okay? But I'm not against ivermectin, for sure. If I had a patient with cancer and they wanted to go on ivermectin, absolutely I would encourage it. Not going to hurt you. Okay. What are my thoughts on type 1.5 diabetes called LADA? Well, at the end of the day, Arlene, like whether it's type 1 or type 2 or type 1.5, okay? And I understand that some of this is autoimmune and all that, but when it comes to eating, if you're a type 1 diabetic, you need to be eating eggs, meat, and cheese. And you got an allergy to carbs. You can, like, I know that type 1 diabetics and type 1.5, they'll tell them they need more of, you got to read, because they're on medication that lowers their blood sugar, and sometimes, like, oh, you better have a chocolate bar around you to regulate your sugars. But at the end of the day, and I had hundreds and hundreds of cases of type 1 diabetes, and this new one, type 1.5, you still got to eat low carb. And the more of eggs and meat and cheese you eat, the better you will be. 100%. Okay. Carrie, and that was Arlene. Carrie, my A1C is 5.3. I am perimenopause, moody, and got heart palpitations. I have been on EMC for 3 years off and on. I'm concerned my insulin is 207. Well, I ain't worried, so don't you be worried, because I like it. Your A1C is very good, so don't worry about it. You're eating the right way, Carrie, okay? And you eating the right way has nothing to do with you being moody. It's more your perimenopause, okay? You get on a menopausal formula. I really like that. But Carrie, if you got an A1C of 5.3, you're in good shape, let me tell you that. Okay, Lori, I've done the reset and then down 45 pounds. Well, you know what, Lori? You're a superstar. Okay, let's, wondering what is morganella bacteria as it showed on the results that I got, and how do I get rid of it? Lori, I'm telling you, if they tested, did they do that by your stool? If they tested most people's stools, you got a lot of stuff and that bacteria. I wouldn't worry about it. You stay on probiotics. And you're on the reset, and you ain't feeding your bad guys. You ain't feeding your bad guys the way you're eating. This is a lifestyle, Lori, now. Good for you. I'm not too worried about that bacteria. I know, like, physicians sometimes will want to put you on an antibiotic for it, but then you're going to wipe out all your good guys. Like, do the oil of oregano and do the probiotic, the broad spectrum, and keep eating the way you're doing. Good for you, Lori. Julie, does cheese cause histamine? No, yes, and no. Okay? If you have an allergy to cheese, okay? And some people, guys, they have an allergy to everything. They have autoimmune and they're allergic to themselves. Okay? And if you, like, most people, if they have an allergy, a sensitivity to dairy, they can have cheese, but they can't have milk, right? But some people, they don't do well with cheese, okay? So therefore, yes, your histamine would go up because your body's recognizing cheese as a foreign invader. And they're releasing histamine. You know what histamines do? Histamines, your body's reaction to make you sneeze, to make you cough, to make you expel. You produce more mucus. Your body's trying to expel the foreign agent. And cheese isn't on its own, does not cause histamine. Anybody that tells you that, run. They don't know what they're talking about. Dairy doesn't cause people to, cause histamine, only if you have an allergy to it. And some people, they're very hypersensitive to dairy. And that's why I tell people, don't ditch dairy, switch it. But if you have a severe leaky gut and, you don't do well with dairy, then I tell people, look, I got patients over the years, they couldn't eat eggs. What? They can't have eggs. It bothers them. It was always amazing to me that they could eat a cake. I said, well, isn't there eggs in cake? How come you can eat cake and you can't eat eggs? No, but some people, guys, everybody's different. And today, with the world in which we live, a lot more people have autoimmune, a lot more people have leaky gut. A lot of people, they're hypersensitive to stuff. Well, if you're hypersensitive, you're going to be releasing histamine. It's not so much the dairy, it's you. Now, one thing they do with dairy that they didn't do before, they pasteurize everything. That means they heat it up to 1200 degrees. And I understand why they do it. I'm not particularly fond of it. But we don't live like we lived 100 years ago on the farm and, whole milk. And so now grocery store milk, it's been highly pasteurized. And that's why, in my opinion, is one of the reasons that people have so many allergies to dairy. The dairy has been denatured to some extent. Okay? So, yeah, it's not cheese per se, it's you. Okay? And Julie, there you go. It's you. Believe it or not, this is the last question. Well, taking fresh crushed garlic cloves, Deborah, okay? Fresh crushed garlic cloves, will they get rid of plaque? No, but they'll get rid of your friends. Like, who's going to be able to go near you? I actually sat, now you guys know I was in Washington, okay? And I sat beside a guy yesterday on the plane, and he had garlic, I guarantee you, for lunch, okay? I mean, look. I'm laughing because, anyway, okay, let's get to the point where is garlic good to lower blood pressure? Well, yeah. The problem is, okay, with garlic, and look, garlic's good for you. I got no problem with that. Okay, but it ain't going to take away your plaque. You need therapeutic doses of anything. That's why Nabitol is so good for you, okay, for your heart and opening up your blood vessels and nitric oxide. And laying off sugar is so much better for your blood vessels than almost anything else. Do you know that coffee is better for your blood vessels than garlic is? Now, garlic is good, except for the side effects, okay? I got no problem with it. But to get the therapeutic doses that you would need for garlic to, I'm not saying don't have it. I'm not saying it's not good for you. But if you're relying on that for a treatment to lower your blood pressure, the best thing you can do for your blood pressure, get off sugar. That'll have a major effect on helping your kidneys, and drink water and drink coffee. Okay. I think we're done here. Did I get every question? I'm just going to make sure here, because I often miss stuff. Yeah, I think I got it all. Wow. Okay. That's early for us for a Friday, isn't it? Okay, that's early for us. Someone was asking me the other day, again, about Ozempic, Wegovy, and these, and we've talked a lot about them. Guys, I don't want to discourage people, I don't, As long as they understand when you go on these things, if you don't stay on them, and you don't change your fuel, you're going to gain all your weight back. And the side effects of them. Now that these medications, they've been around for a bit, but now they've been used like a designer drug for weight loss. Like it's just, the pharmaceuticals companies, they cash in. Hollywood starts it, and the pharmaceuticals, they cash in, right? They make a fortune. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. But at the end of the day, let me say this. At the end of the day, you better change your lifestyle, or that weight is coming back. You need to change fuels. This is why when people do the reset of 30 days, they find out the relationship they have with carbs. They don't do well with carbs. And I'm not saying you can never eat carbs. All I'm saying is when you put that first on your plate, compared to eggs, meat, and cheese, you're going to find out. And when it comes to weight loss, it's the same thing. It's fuel. It's not calories, it's fuel. And addictions. And Wegovy, Ozempic, they don't get rid of addictions. Because, my name is Tony and I'm a carboholic. Well, that, my friend, and we're surrounded by carbs. From bread, pizza, pasta, rice, you name it, cereals, crappy carbs. It's that relationship you gotta fix. And again, if you understand that, and that's why it's habits, it's changing. It's understanding that. Just saying, don't be duped. Don't be fooled. Don't be, because you'll see a lot of information and it looks so great, these drugs. Holy moly, without doing a thing, I can lose weight. Yeah, but there's a big, huge price to pay. And you have to stay on them. And most people get off them. Why? Because there's so many side effects to them. Guys, I've been railing against this. And I understand the frustration of people. When they can't lose weight, I understand all that. But I always start with this premise. You want to eat the right fuel. If you do that, the rest of it will take care of itself, including weight loss. Because there's a lot of people I put on the reset because they have insulin resistance and they're skinny as rakes. And they're on the other side of it, but they're not healthy because they have insulin resistance. And their triglycerides are through the roof and their HDL is not good. And they got all these issues and they're skinny. And they often have sarcopenia, muscle wasting. That's why eggs, meat, and cheese are the best, because you got all your nutrients. It's nutrient dense. It helps to regulate your insulin. And that's the key to metabolic syndrome, is to get rid of, at the cellular level, that your body's resistance to insulin. And when you change fuels, you fix the bottom line. And we've shown you the connections over the years to insulin resistance, to cancer, insulin resistance to heart disease, insulin resistance to Alzheimer's, insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, obviously to diabetes, insulin resistance and autoimmune, and add leaky gut. Anyway, that was a question. I get asked about it every week, by the way, anyways, and that's all right. I want you to ask me. It gives me an opportunity to pontificate. Okay. Guys, we're done. Thanks for sending in all the questions. Remember now, okay? You can send in your questions to info@martinclinic.com, okay? info@martinclinic.com. Now, have you got to my American friends, U.S. friends, okay, watching now, pray that everything, all our products will be coming online in the United States, hopefully Tuesday, okay? Everything is... one of the reasons we were in Washington, okay? Everything is ready to go, we think. Okay? Oh. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.